So, in performance tasks, when you're doing two things, you are having a group argument over a topic of their choice, and they are also responsible for independently researching some aspect of it. So, how I usually explain this to my students is you have a general topic, right? And that topic is like an umbrella. And on the underside of the umbrella, you have different spokes. And each one of these spokes is some subtopic. So let's say we're talking about the environment. Okay, so we could talk about climate change, greenhouse effects, uh, uh, increased storms and fires. We could talk about here. We could talk about the let's think. Oh, light pollution. And here we could talk about how climate change is affecting or creating food shortages. Okay. So your research question is always the question that you're asking is the question that you need to have an answer for. And in the TMP, you're arguing something. So the question needs to be something that's debatable, meaning it has two sides to it. It has to be focused. So meaning like it should just be one sentence question, not two parts. It should be very straight into the point. Is it researchable? Meaning, can you find research on this topic? And does it have alternative perspectives? Okay, so for example, I had a student that said they wanted to talk about cancer. Okay, what about it? Nobody's gonna argue should cancer exist or not. That's not a topic. So what you might want to say, what you might want to change that to is, should there be more funds allocated to cancer research? Okay, that's debatable. Okay, that's something you could talk about, and you can talk about aspects of that. So that's what the IRR does. So whatever they come up with, so let's say here with this example that we have, the environment, we could say something like, would the U.S. benefit from creating stricter regulations for company for the environment? Or would the country benefit from creating stricter environmental regulations? That's even a better question. So let me just go ahead and erase that. And you may not think this is debatable, but there are people who think there are some scientists, however few, that think that's not really necessary, or they think there's other ways to do it. So is it researchable? Yes, absolutely. Are there multiple perspectives? Yes, because I gave them to you. You could talk about food shortages. That's a different perspective to look at it. You could look at climate change. That's another perspective. Greenhouse effect. We could talk about storms, fires. We could talk about water pollution. We could talk about light pollution. I mean, there's different ways of addressing the environment, multitude. And they could also look at it from different perspectives, as in companies, oil and gas companies. They could look at it medically. They could look at it economically. Those kind of things, or they could approach it scientifically. There are definitely multiple aspects. Is this debatable? Absolutely. Is this a simple question? Yes, absolutely. So is this the right scope for the project? Yes, because it's the scope for this question is the TMP, and the TMP is an argument. Yes. Okay. So this will require a judgment. And so the IRR is basically the point of views that they are looking at to address this question. So what they would do in their IRRs, for example, so say I'm the student that's doing the food shortages or water pollution. So my thesis would address the overall umbrella topic, but it's basically presenting research to help support and answer the the overall research question. So water pollution is a major environmental issue in the United States. And some of the things I could talk about are, of course, Flint. We could talk about water pollution rollbacks. I could talk about ocean pollution. I could talk about how this is affecting fishing, commerce, like things like that. So I can look at this point of view of this topic and address it and research all these different things to help contribute to an overall answer. And so their answer will be the thesis for their TMP. All right, I hope that helped.